Greetings everyone. I'm doing a voiceover for this video. So if the words are not in sync with the movement of my mouth, you understand why. I thought I'd do a session on dreams, and I should be doing more of this, but eventually there's so much going on in my life right now that some of the things that I want to do on the channel is delayed. Okay, but in today's episode, I'm going to share a dream, and I'm also going to do some dream interpretation. So, very early this morning, I had a vision. When you have those dreams and you wake up right away, those are very significant. And so, this one is very troubling for me and is very significant. But it starts out with me being in some hill or some very remote part of Jamaica. I'm just surrounded by trees, just nature. And I'm standing in this room, and when I look outside, it's like it's way up in the mountain because I can see the valley below me. And I was wondering to myself, how am I going to get back down there? It seemed as if there's a special tour that I was on, and someone would have to come back and get me to go back down into the city. While I was waiting, it seemed like I got tired of waiting, so I decided to make my way down in the valley. And before you know it, I was standing on this level, and I saw this very strange looking vehicle. Have you ever watched the African movies and see these little things they use as taxi? But I don't know how to describe it. I think it has a wheel at the front, and I guess two wheels at the back. If you know what I'm talking about, and you know what that's called, if you're in any part of Africa and you know what I'm talking about, drop it in the comment section. But I saw this coming, and it was filled with students. And as it made its way closer to me, I my youngest daughter was lying on what looked like a bench beside where I was waiting. So I woke her up, and I saw the vehicle coming towards me, and it was filled with students to the point where, if you're from Jamaica, you'll know when these buses are full and would be sitting in other people's lap, or people would be bending over. They can't stand straight. It's so busy. It's so packed. Well, that's how it looked. But by the time it got to my feet and I stepped in, of course, inside the vehicle had what looked like benches, those long bench across. It didn't have seats, just benches. So when I got inside and I sat down, it was empty. All the students had disappeared. It would seem like I took a vehicle with just ghosts. And here's the thing that was disturbing. The kids were all wearing a light blue. They were all girls that I saw, and they were all wearing light blue uniform. And as I'm waking up out of my dream, Spirit said, Edwin Allen. So that would be Edwin Allen High School. And that was it. And it's perplexed me so much, because when I look or try to interpret it for myself, I'm saying this vehicle comes. It's like some phantom vehicle. It comes. It was real. I saw it. It was filled with students. But by the time it got to me and I stepped in, it was empty. The students had disappeared. And so for me, the disappearance of the student is not a good thing. The fact that I saw them in the vehicle and then they disappeared, that in itself is very spiritual. And I don't want to speak negative, but in my interpretation, I'd be looking out for some situation as the kids return to school. Um, Situations involving students that are going to disappear. I'm not going to say exactly what I'm thinking, because again, if I have the power to change something, I'd want to change it. But it is not a good dream, with the children just disappearing like that. But I'm gonna leave it like that for now. but I just like to mark these things, especially when they trouble my spirit. Now, I'm going to also interpret a few dreams for individuals, just symbols I'm going to talk about in the next half of this video. Hair, teeth, clothing, laundry of any kind, whether it's hanging outside on the line and it's clean, or it's dirty in somebody's house and it's scattered, or you're folding, it doesn't matter. When you see clothing, whether it's in a basket or in a drawer, on a line, or people getting dressed, it is not a good sign. It usually means the person who you see folding it or hanging it on the line, or the person who these clothes belong to, is going to be ill or is already sick. Okay, so it does denote sickness. Now, teeth, a lot of people already know this: teeth falling out, decayed teeth, any denture, you just notice your teeth, just falling out or whatever. It's the sign of very grave illness or death, unfortunately. Hair is another one of those negative dreams or things you could see. If you see your hair long or you see someone shaving their hair, it doesn't matter what you see. A beautiful hair, person used to have short hair and all of a sudden it's long, or you see them wearing a wig, it does not matter. It denotes grave illness or death. Okay, and if you're asking why you're just talking about these negative symbols, is because in this dream it was quite negative, and so I'm just using all the different symbols I know. Now, if you dream about fire, whether you're cooking with it, whether it's in control or out of control, that also is a sign that there is going to be argument between you and someone. So even if you get to midnight, a minute past midnight, someone is going to rub you the wrong way and you're going to get into an argument. If you are married and you live with someone and you have this vision, you can try your best to push that situation to the point where it's not as negative. So if you have a disagreement with your partner, try to find a way to, dance around the topic in a way that is not going to offend the person. Try to see if you can be level-headed. So even if you get into this argument, it's not going to be explosive, or you will have the argument regardless. But if you are able to control the way your temper or the way you speak to somebody, it'll make a difference in how the outcome of that disagreement. And then another one that I want to talk about is food. If you see meat, especially raw meat, it is a sign of illness as well, or worst. If you see fish, live fish is a good sign of pregnancy. So if it's either yourself or someone else you know. But if it's frozen, if you are at the supermarket and you're purchasing fish and it's frozen, if you are pregnant, you will have a miscarriage. And if it's not you and someone you know, someone will miscarry when you see frozen fish. Not a question, a must. If you are seeing food in general in your dream, it's not a good dream. If you see a building crumbling or a structure falling apart, or going into a house that is decaying, or just things looking really messy in there, you will receive a message of death in your family. No question, a definite. If you see your knives turning upside down, like you put your knife down and it falls on the back, and it's not a knife that has a broad back where it can fall easily, then it's a sign that there's going to be changes in your life. For some people, it means that they're going to be, moving. That's always my story, but it could be movement from where you live, or it could be movement from your job. If you have any questions or any symbols that you want me to interpret for you in the next video, drop it here and I'll be happy to interpret it based on my own experience of at least 30 years or more Stay blessed, everyone.